Well, hello, boys and girls. This is going to be an interesting episode. You will see the absolute transformation and the reinvigoration of a fire-damaged 77 Ford F250 by giving it a good facelift. Now, I started initially here sandblasting it, and it was okay results. Then after I realized I was running glass beads instead of green sand, so it wasn't as, it wasn't as abrasive, but it came out alright. I figured, you know what, I got a big enough air compressor. Got this sandblaster, one of these Harbor Freight cheap ones, been sitting around for a good long while. He loaned it to me. I figured, okay, well, let's just have some fun and sandblast a little bit of this down. And for the most bit, it worked out okay. Now that I've got glass beads all over the place and it shimmies when I walk over my concrete, which is great. Now I gotta try to pick that up. But it did knock the biggest chunkies off and at least sanded it a little bit down, so it's a little bit smoother surface for the paint to adhere to. I guess I've got about 30 more seconds of footage here before I gotta talk for the next bit. So enjoy the music. Oh yeah, that'll also bust out the wire wheel as well. We grab a few tools in the end to scrub all of this down. Oh, by the way, this is how you steer a pickup that's got disconnected steering assembly. And to pull it back into the shop, I kind of had to come along at the back because it doesn't have a power plant and the tires are mostly flat and I got a slight bump to get into my garage. So yeah, this is my way of pulling the vehicle back into the shop after I'm done sandblasting it. Hey, don't laugh, it works. It works.
And or brushed down.
Oh, this buffoon's actually going to start talking. Oh dear.
I'm just going to hit up with some Rust-Oleum metal primer. Probably do 2 coats, maybe 3 if I'm feeling extremely generous. And then we'll paint it satin or semi-gloss black. Let that cure. And then it's off to the real goody part. But first things first, let's go ahead and primer up this engine bay or chassis rail here a little bit. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Like Katie and the Sunshine Band said, shake your booty. Woo, shake your booty. There's a throwback for y'alls. And yes, we're using potato quality GoPro camera because I'm not getting my big camera out here and messing up the lens. No. Wife's gonna hate me because I'm gonna be smelling like volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. Components? Compounds? I think it's compounds. 1970s brown. Fabulous, darlings. I mean, at the very least, you gotta put a little coat on it after the engine fire just to tidy it up. You're in it this far, right? I'm not taking it any further down though, because that's just gonna be too much faffing about. We're not too worried again about getting hit in the yellow because we're gonna be grinding a lot of that down. Kind of doing this in 2 steps. I think that's what they said when you do auto body work too. Is that you basically take a little section at a time, bits and pieces. Don't take the whole project on at once, right? Well, I don't know if that's for auto body work. I don't do that, but don't bite off more than you can chew, maybe. Of course, I don't know. I do have a big mouth. Families, do not bother to comment on that, please. Thank you. I hope he's not going to replace these springs, otherwise I'm going to charge him for this can of paint. You hear me, brother? You hear me? Mr. Trans Am hologram. Yeah, this should turn out in disaster. bad. It's just a leaf spring. No one's, or a coil spring. No one's going to see this anyways. Just my 10 faithful viewers. Bless you guys. Really hard to get the inside of that, you know? Stuff goes on fast. And kills my brain cells. Where's your respirator? I think it's over there on that shelf. But it's full of mold. Which reminds me, I need to toss that. So we're just going to hang outside here right quick and, you know, chillax. All gone. Oh my gosh, this is the worst paint job ever. Ah, joke's on you, it's not painting, it's priming. Really, he says, and I says, yes, I says. So learn it and love it. Whew. Well, this pan's gonna give me one whole spray or not for a first coat, I don't know. Breathing time.
And here we see a buffoon in his natural habitat, having no idea what he's doing. Actually, what I did is I got my angle grinder out, and this is a strip discs that you can get off the Amazons and the Home Depots and the, preferably our mom and shop hardware storage, which is a rarity to have these days. We basically used 3 tools in here. The first one was the angle grinder with a strip disc, just to get the big chunkies off of, as it were. I've never used them before, but man alive, I heard about them, and they cover a lot of surface area really fast. You're very limited on what you can get in and out. It's surprisingly, I got a fair good, at least 70% of the paint knocked off the firewall. It did pretty good, honestly. Well pleased with that, how it initially turned out.
Well, I'm trying to get the apron bracket off. The other one came out. It's the last freaking bolt. It's stripped out, and unfortunately, these are captive nuts. There's no way to get in there. And because Ford sealed it off right there, my big fat freaking sausage fingers are not big enough to come up in here and grab it. So I want to go behind there and paint it right. But in order to do that, I need to lop that off with a cutting torch. Hello. Roasty toasty. Oh, cool. 1970s paint's on fire. I don't think those fumes are toxic at all. Ha!
I think you've inhaled too many of said fumes.
Knock it off.
I'm sorry.
Again, sorry for the camera, but I'm doing this all with the GoPro because this is just messy. I don't want to mess up my expensive big camera. We can see here, we still have the captive nut here, and we still have a bit of chunk of thread here. So what I'm possibly wondering is, can I heat the outside of that nut up just enough so I can back those threads off, and then if I'm good enough, keep that square nut in there, captive nut still in there, weld it and anchor it back down, and then we could just use a new bolt in there and actually recover this hole and have it take the load up again. Might be able to do that. But in order to heat it up by fire, I have to get rid of a fire trap. Same with down there on the lower cab supports as well. If you're in here, try to please remove these plugs, because this is how this tin gets rotted out really, really quickly. And even got the mouse trappings down there. Yeah, if you're in here, please check these out. And the bottom of this cavity is just simply right there is where it comes out at. I'll show you guys. Then we'll just give it a spritz with the hose. Yeah, please clean these out, people. Please clean them out if you can. I think brother's getting new firewall insulation. He'll be doing the interior work. I'm just getting this thing up and running for him again. We'll try to do good with the engine bay. He will do the rest. Because frankly, I don't have enough time to work. I want to get the Volvo. I want to get the Volvo up and going again. Oh, hello. Hello. So the name of the game is just to get this thing going. We'll do right by the engine bay. We can do that much at least. These lower cab mount holes, I might actually spray some coral seal in there. That's your iron oxide corrosion paint converter, rust converter paint in here. So I can make sure this is a little bit well sealed and maybe shoot some primer in it later. But sorry for the flickering. I just have this cheap light, but not. Oh yeah, it's getting a little. Looks a little bit ripe right over there, but yeah, it'll do. It'll do. Not completely rotted out yet. Let's see how much of a disaster this turns out to be. Oh yeah, that's way too much heat. I feel like I could honestly fix this. Let me have a mess with it offline. Update guys shortly. Alright, plan B is converting this bolt to a screwdriver slot form. See if I can heat up and then just untwist it out. I don't know. Okay. I really don't want to do this brute force style, but we might have to. So now I have my slot here. Stick it in there, try to heat it up and twist it back and forth. I highly doubt it'll work, but I can give it a try. Stranger things have happened that were successful. Point. That too big of a chunky screwdriver though. Oh, I don't have any standard screwdrivers. Oh, I gotta go to the store. Gosh dang it all. Screwdrivers? Goes to my steel chainsaw though. Yeah, right. Knock it off. I still need to hold it in place though. To do this, I don't think. Oh, it moves! Yes! Yes, you little... I can't see it on YouTube without getting demonetized. Ha ha! Yes! Yes! That's right. Come to Papa. I didn't think that was actually gonna work. Googly mooglies. I think we can save this captive nut. Brother, this is why you're probably not gonna get your truck back by next year. Keep running into these shenanigans. We have a little shenanigans. Oh, yeah. Don't you know they're buds? Come on. Alright. Let's try this now. Booyah! Look at that. Captive nut still in place. That worked out pretty nicely. Oh, now we're scraping the body seal, seam sealer. I did not show it, but I was able to successfully weld that captive nuts for the fender mounts successfully. Now it's in a stationary position, so if we have to adjust it, then that could be a little bit tricky, but it is welded in. Now we're going to see me remove 1977 original seam sealer, which I really don't think it's sealing anything anymore. Let's be fair here. You probably won't be able to see it, but I did make a little dimple here and here, so I roughly know where the anchor bracket's supposed to be, but we'll see. Right, time to get some more scrubbings. Yay.
Ah, yes, and here is the second of the third tools, which was my Dremel tool. Got in a little tighter, but I still kind of disappointed on where I could get into it. It did help on some of those curves. In the next clip, I believe, we shall see the third and last option, which helps send it to about 80-90% scrub down. And that is what I call the finger file, I guess. I don't know what their nickname is. It's a cute little 1x18-inch belt you put on there. This is just the Eastwood flavor. I think they had a sale on it. It was a few dollars off, fine, whatever. For a consumer, from a consumer standpoint, these fingernails are really nice. Where they work in a good automotive production facility, I don't know. I had serious doubts. I kept snagging it on stuff and kept ruining my belts. But for a light hobbyist like I am, it's actually pretty slick setup. You can rotate the head and angles, and you can get into some pretty nice tight places with that. It's a little bit bouncy if you try to focus grinding right on the end of the tip. But you know what? It's $70. It was, in my opinion, it was well spent. This is not the battery version. This is the 110 plug-in. I would not suggest a battery version of one of these, if at all practicable. It's just that thing got hot. I was constantly blowing it with air from my air compressor because I was using it so much. Your batteries would run out very quickly. It's better to have 110 volts. You're spinning it all the time at the proper RPM, and you can just get done a lot faster, in my opinion. But it worked pretty good. I'm actually pretty pleased with that. I'm glad I was able to add it to my tool collection for sure. Okay, here I'm spraying the rust encapsulator or iron oxide conversion paint, whatever the heck you want to call it. I did get a little bit too juicy in there, but I sprayed more than enough in there, and then I simply stuck some blue Scotch towels in there and put a stick in there and kind of mopped up the rest. And then we get the brushable seam sealer from Eastwood, not sponsored or endorsed by any way, shape, or form, but Eastwood if you want to. Hey, come on, give me some love, and I'll give you guys a shout out. Shameless plug. So we started off here. This is the first time I've ever used seam sealer in my life, and I was pleasantly surprised. It did seem to set up a little bit faster. I don't know, maybe work with it for about 15 minutes. Mind you, it was 90 plus degrees outside. I don't know what that is in non-Freedom units. We use Freedom units here in America. But it was pretty warm. It did seem to set pretty fast, but I think I did a semi-decent job for the first time. I did leave some, there's, if you look closely, there's a little bit on the firewall, but considering how they slapped it on 1977, the way I put it on, honestly, it doesn't look any worse than it did in 1977, and the build quality of the car people out there know what the 70s build quality was. It was, yeah, not right. Now, I'm starting to spray this. This is, what the heck is it? Rust-Oleum primer paint. Unlike the red paint, which is for heavy rust, this is the white stuff, so it's meant for light rust or no rust metal. So I used that for the top bit. Now, I did not scrub all the paint out, so for the haters that might come across this video one day, yeah, I know, I was not going to spend 100 hours scrubbing every last flippin' piece of paint on there. I wanted to get most of the fire damage off, get down the bare metal for the most bit, especially where the rust is, near the brake booster bolt-up area was, and then just call it good from there. Ah, yes, now we get to the chrome yellow. My brother purchased this. You can get, You can get these color-coded spray cans. They're all over the internet. They're all over the internet. I don't know which particular company he used, but it matched up pretty good. It took me a little bit to get used to how spraying it. Initially, I wasn't spraying it too close to the metal at the time, but just backs and forth, backs and forth. Oh, just look at that. Oh, that looks pretty. Excuse me, but yeah, that's when I started applying that paint, I'm like, oh yeah, oh, this is gonna be fine. I did put 2 coats of primer on the firewall before spraying this. We go. This is the clear coat I'm putting on it now. I had put 1.5 cans of clear coat on it, I think. Make it look nice and pretty. Seal up the plane a little bit. Very nice. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Gosh, how I hate watching myself when I'm editing videos. Oh well. Yes. Back and forth. Good boy. Good boy. Right now, this idiot is pulling off his protective covering. I will say there's a little bit on the very edge where the blue tape was, painter's tape, that I may have to touch up a little bit. Yeah, right there, maybe. But honestly, it's not gonna be that bad. It's no worse than what it was before. But I'm really happy. It really turned out really nice. The color seems to match up pretty good. And then we're going to do the Rust-Oleum rebuild kit here for the chassis rails. We're just using the semi-gloss protective. I like semi-gloss. It looks a little bit shiny, but it's not overly bearing shiny. Kind of like a satin finish type, if you will. I really like that. We did put 2 coats of black paint on here as well.
Well, I do declare, frame rail is painted. Let's go see what it looks like in toto. Ooh-wee! Ooh-wee, soo-wee! Look at that. Not bad for a rebuild job. Very nice.
Very, very nice. Well, for me, it turned out pretty nice. Yes, we're using the big camera, of course. Since we're done with it, I don't have to worry about spraying my lens. I did spray, of course, a clear coat on there, so she shines up. So-so. It's okay. I did hit up these parts right here because the fender panel goes through there. Technically, you won't see that at all, but I was a little bit OCD. Like, well, I gotta at least touch it up a little bit. But I am excited that we will have a much cleaner and much nicer engine bay to put the new engine, or rather rebuilt the original engine that's going to get rebuilt, to be a nice, better home for it here. Absolutely. Now, one of the things I really detest on the Facebooks and the Facebook marketplaces and the Craigslists is people who spray paint tractors. It is awful. They don't even color up the tires. Yes, you can tell it's spray painted. It's like, what are you trying to hide? You know, it irritates me that they just spray a piece of junk and expect you can spray, you know, $50 worth of rattle can and get extra $500 out of it. It's stupid. It does grind my gears, right? Now, yes, we did it on here. We did what you call the spray paint rebuild project on it, but we know what's underneath it. I scrubbed it all down to bare metal. That hurt. The brake lines were all rotted out. So those ones that were rotted out were cut. The bottom that goes across the front end right behind my beautiful rear end, those were actually intact and those were sound enough. We're just going to go ahead and send those. Fire never got to them. They're not rotted out. That's fine. Normally I don't like those spray paint jobs, but I will admit this is much nicer. And remember, this is not a restore. This is not a restoration series, right? This is just make it look putty to make it up down the road again and go boom boom. My brother says he wants us to get on the road by next year. He will pretty much take care of everything. The interior glass. We might do some compounding before I drive it out to his place to see if we can get some of that moss and ucky stuff off the paint. Let's see right here and here. Scatter it out a little bit. Hopefully we can take that off at some point. Possibly I might give that a go. We got a whole bunch of stuff to do still. He'll be doing most of it. I don't even know if we'll put HVAC in here. He might decide to do that on his own. I just want to get the engine compartment all nice and tighty, as it were. Have to do a lot of rewiring. Drop the tanks and stuff, but he's going to do most of the interior work and whatnot. He'll do the real ultra finesse of me doing this in here, making it look quasi-presentable. We'll just make him work all much harder to make everything else look good. That's how I roll. Thank you for the new subscribers. For those of you, for the new subscribers and the veterans, I guess. Things are going to be slow for a little bit while. It's just monotonous spray paint work. I've got the radiator core, needs a 1x6 patch in it where it's rotted out. I'll probably just do that off camera because it's absolutely boring, and give that the spray paint rebuild as well. I'm also starting 2 new YouTube channels. They are not ready for me to advertise it to you guys. It's quasi fun thing I would like to do. I haven't done I have been wanting to do for 10 years. I haven't done it yet. It's more of a hobby of mine. I won't get into what it is exactly. It's not ready for prime time yet, but I've got more irons in the fire than I should. And I don't know I don't know where my YouTube journey is going to wind up or where it's going to end. But we're trying a few other things too. Might be kind of fun for you guys. But when those channels pop off enough and it's monetized, then I might let you in on those 2 side channels I have, which may become my main channels one day. I don't know. It's going to be fun. I hope. Lots of CAD and 3D printing. And it does have to do with transportation, I should say, in a simulated environment. We'll just leave it at that for now. That's enough of a teaser. I don't know if it'll ever work or not, but you just gotta keep trying. My back's getting worse. I'm lifting engine transmissions, it seems like I'm gonna have to start getting a lot more careful and creative these days with my back. It's I don't have a doctor's note, but trying other things. So be patient. We are working on the background. I might probably spray paint the fenders. I might bring that combo up too. Combo. What am I talking about? We're done here. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all later. At some point in the not too distant future. I appreciate every of you out there who puts up with my shenanigans. And also who keeps returning, which you guys are sick in the head. Sick, I say. Catch you on the flip side, yo. Alright, peace out, Girl Scouts. Later. Toodles. I have outdone myself, which is not very hard to do. Lorries! Oh, steady. Is that right, Findolf? Is that right? Right. Oh, my back's tweaked. Camera's tweaked, too. It's not lining up with my grids. It's not lining up with my grids. You know how McSqueezy goes. Oh, that's really... Where's that my screen? Ah. There. How is this for 1970s? How is this for the 1970s? The seam sealer's not even in the seal. The sealer's not even in the seam. That's fantastic. It's just... Wow, yeah, the 1970s. Well, we all know what they were doing in the 70s, let's be honest. Let's not kid ourselves. Yeah, that's just... They completely missed it. Jeez. These poor rigs. Imagine if I actually built them halfway straight. Ugh. Alright, back to scrubbing, I guess. Right. Airplane, go away.